Go.
What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up, Amaran? What's up around the world? What's up, lifestyle show for boys and girls? Life in high school, learning and growing up. Everybody get ready, find out what's up, what's up? What's up, what's up?
I'm Angela Hazeltine Potsi, and I'm the Executive Director of Artula Institute for Arts and Environmental Education, which is a nonprofit, and I'm the director of the Wash to Shore Project and the lead artist and teacher, and this is the Wash to Shore Project. As the exhibit, it is being shown at the moment at the Marine Mammal Center, and it is a touring exhibit that is about to tour the world. And this is our fourth stop at the Marine Mammal Center, and we look forward to a lot more stops. This project is about marine debris and a very depressing topic of everyday objects and things that end up in our ocean beaches, and how this small community in Bandon, Oregon, where I'm from, has picked up things off of the beaches, brought them into Art 101, which is where we have our workshops, and we process these things into art supplies, and then we build giant sculptures. And the giant sculptures are in the forms of the marine animals and the issues, such as a gyre, which is what I'm standing in front of right here, to raise awareness about the plastic pollution problem in the ocean. And my feeling is that if people, just the general public, can see how much garbage there is that's coming up on our ocean beaches, it will wake them up. And I really believe it's working. We have evidence that it is working. I've seen projects actually spout up after we've left a venue that are, helping the environment. And we work with school kids, every age, every level. We've processed about 7,000 pounds of garbage off of the beach in a tiny little remote area of Bandon, Oregon. And what we do is we're using every bit of it. About 98% we're using, and by doing that, we're saving it all. We show you how much there is. And it's not that we have more than anyone else, because most people who do beach cleanups, they don't save it. We save it, and we show it to you. So that's something that's a little unique about this project, is we use all of it, and we use hundreds and hundreds of people involved in making it. So each one of these strings of garbage were strung by, could be a 5-year-old, it could be a 95-year-old, it could be someone in a senior center, or it could have been someone from a school, or it could have been somebody from Germany who stopped by at Art 101 on their vacation. And so we have people from all over, and all types of people contributing to these projects. And I'm just the leader of that, so it's not really my art exhibit, it's the Wash to Shore Project exhibit. But I do take credit for the designing and the concept, and the teaching and all that. But it's really not just an art exhibit, it's environmental education too.
Can you tell us a little bit about how you came up with the idea?
Well, I believe that everything in my life has led me to this, really. I even was reminiscing, and this is kind of funny, the more I think about all this, the more things pop up from my past that I go, oh, that might have had something to do with it. Both my parents were artists, and my dad was a museum director, so I was really raised in this art world thing. But they were also naturalists, and we would spend all our summers in the woods on the beach and, really involved in nature. And so I've always had a love for both of those things. My mom did collage art, and she was a well-known professional artist, has works in museums and such. And when I was a kid, she used to take me to the dump. I was just like, all of a sudden, I remembered this. It's like, we would go to the dump to find really cool things that she could put in her collages. And I thought, oh my gosh, I've been doing this a long time. So, and she always liked to look at materials differently, and I always did. And then I got a teaching degree. I really believed in arts education, and it wasn't very good in the schools. I was like, okay, I need to change that. So I actually have a bachelor's and a master's degree in education with a very strong arts background. So I'm really an educator, first and foremost in a lot of ways. And but I also love the art. So I was making my own sculptures that I was selling and had exhibits in galleries out of found objects like old clothes and thrift store items. And my dear, wonderful husband, Craig Potsy, who is also an artist and teacher, he looked at it, and he was a great art critic, extremely honest. And he said to me once, I'll never forget, he said, well, that's really great, but what's the point? And I'm like, what do you mean, what's the point? It's like, it's beautiful, it's whimsical, it's fun, it makes you feel good, it's getting good receptions, it get good reviews. And he's like, yeah, but what's the point? Why are you doing it? And so it really lodged in me, and I think a lot of things in my life is kind of lodged in there. And unfortunately, I lost Craig to a brain tumor in 2004 and went through a lot of trauma and tried to figure out how to pull my life back together, and the arts were always going to be important. So I came to the ocean, to Bandon, Oregon, where my family had come all their summers, and was walking the beach to just try to find my center, try to figure out what's the point of living. And I was doing my other artwork, and I kept noticing more and more plastics on the beach and all these colors and everything, and I just started getting angry about it. And all the sand that was mosaicked, and I was like, this is really wrong. There's something really wrong. This isn't just a one-time thing. This is really wrong. And I'd noticed in the past I hadn't lived on the beach, so I never realized it was an everyday problem. I thought it was like maybe someone dumped something somewhere and it washed up and I saw something. And so I went home and I researched. I went to the internet, researched online, went to other people's websites, and I was like, oh my God, there's this thing out in the ocean called a gyre. There's 5 of these in the ocean. In the oceans. This is a worldwide problem. This is enormous. This is horrific. And I want to tell you a little story about this one that not too many people know. Because when I found out about the gyre, I went to this one YouTube video.
Could you tell us?
But yeah,
talk a little bit about what a gyre is, because I don't think everyone
okay.
knows what that is.
Yeah, a gyre has always meant the currents and the trade winds that are in the ocean naturally that simply twirl around in a certain direction, and there's just natural ways that the ocean rotates with the currents and the winds, and that's used to be the only definition of a gyre. And unfortunately what's happening is all those gyres are pulling garbage in from all the continents, and it's pulling into an area that is now estimated that 11 million pounds of garbage is floating in the middle of the gyre of the North Pacific. And it's not just on top, because if you go out to the gyres, it pretty much looks like the normal ocean. And this is the biggest fallacy. When I first heard of it, it's like the giant Pacific garbage patch. Well, if it's an island, let's just put asphalt and let's just live there, Well, it's not like that. It's in all the strata of the ocean. It's in the thick of it. And when I was doing my research and I came across this YouTube video, there's Marcus Ericsson, who now has gotten to see my gyre sculpture, which is great. I saw this video of him scuba diving with a camera in the middle of the gyre, and there was all this stuff floating through. It's like the soup. It's basically like a plastic soup. And he came out of the water and he said, if people could just see, like I see, what's in the middle of the ocean, they would get it. But nobody gets out here. And I went, I can do that. I'm going to do that. I'm going to make it right in their face. I'm going to make something that you can swim through, and that's why I made this, that you can swim through, that puts it in your face. And I was like, if we can't get to the ocean, then we need to get the ocean to us. And I need to as an artist, I believe in the power of the arts, and I've seen how arts can change people. And it's like, well, that's what I need to be doing. And then there was all these other little things that happened that just inspired me, and I said, okay, well, I'll do this. I'm just going to do this. And I started it, and I thought, well, and I put up a 30-foot yurt and got started and didn't have any idea what I was going to do, except that I needed to do it, and it had to be done, and I was going to do a good job of it. And I just like, okay, well, we'll just get started and see what happens.
You're going to tell us about this stand?
Yeah. So basically, when you go through this, it's the idea of swimming through it. And the blue is all rope that we found on the beaches that we shredded. And these are all pieces we found on the beach. And this is just common everyday items. There's a binky, there's a lotion bottle, lids, caps, toys, markers. And when I first started this, I thought, how do you get it so that it's beautiful? How do you get it so people want to see it? And I thought, okay, well, it has to be so beautiful people want their picture taken next to it. Because then if we got it in their camera, and then they'll have to tell somebody about it, and then they have to explain, and then they'll want to know more. But they have to be attracted to see it. And so actually I tried several times of stringing garbage, and it's like, okay, that just looks like a bunch of garbage. We can't use that. No one's going to want to go in there. And I'm like, well, what if I made it in rainbow colors? And these are not painted or stained. This is the real thing. Plastic comes in every color. I've actually had people say, so did you paint it, or is it naturally that way? I'm like, it's not natural, it's plastic. But yeah, so I purposely strung it in red, orange, yellow, green, blue, and white, and then more blue. Purple is very hard to find on the beach. Purple's not a common plastic color, neither is brown. But so what happens is, in all of this exhibit, I was color coordinating everything. And so all the brown and the black and the beige goes into another sculpture. And so we would then reserve all the styrofoam for that, and we started dividing things into different color groups and different types of things. And then my biggest creative challenge of my life is to use every bit of it. So I have to keep thinking of new ones. And we have constantly new sculptures being built. It's not like we're done. This is the whalebone rib cage, and this came about by me just seeing piles and piles of white plastic that were accumulating and huge amount of bleach bottles and all this, and I thought I need to have another simple process thing for people, and I wanted to do a whale, and I was like, how do I do a whale? Those are too big. It's already a big animal. And I thought, well, how about a rib cage you could walk through? And so I came up with this idea and this design, and this has all been welded by high school students again, the same group we work with. And the thing that's fascinating about this is that you have things on here that are from all around the world that are coming here, and there's evidence of it. And this happens a lot in this, is that these things have already traveled the world, a lot of them, and I kept thinking this exhibit has to travel the world. We have things from all around the world in this exhibit, and it's a worldwide problem. And then this exhibit itself has had such good recognition that, and we've had people ask us to bring the show to them. We have people around the nation. We have people that want to do projects like this around the nation and in other countries who have seen this and hear about it or go to our website. And so a lot of ways I'm feeling like we were always destined to do a global tour of the exhibit, and it's happening now. I mean, now we're committed to doing it.